Catnap was just revealed on Mob Games Twitter, and we finally find out who this character is and what he's gonna do. And that's not all, because in the Poppy Playtime 3 ARG, we got some new security camera footage of the abandoned playcare, which that's probably even more crazy than the photo itself. So within the past week, Mob Games on Twitter have been doing this thing where every day they release a new photo of one of the smiling critters. First, it was Bubba Bubbaphant, then it was Bobby Bearhug, which said it is the loving one of them, then Crafty Corn, then Kickin' Chicken, and they each have a scent, which most of them don't really mean anything. Then we had Dog Day, then Picky Piggy, then Hoppy Hopscotch, and then finally Catnap. And I want to point out, in the Picky Piggy one, we see a yawning emoji, and we do know that sleep is going to be a big part in this game. The chapter is literally called Deep Sleep. And something crazy that I found out recently, in the Poppy Playtime Chapter 1 soundtrack, one of the names of the soundtracks is literally Deep Sleep. So either that's just a coincidence, or Mob Games have been planning this for 2 years. Anyways, I'm done wasting your time. Let's dissect this photo of Catnap. So this image came out at the same time that all the other ones did, around 9 a.m. Pacific time, but for some reason, only 30 seconds after this one came out, it got deleted off of Mob Games Twitter completely. Everyone was wondering what happened to it, until a few minutes later, it came back up, and it was the exact same, except with some glitched text. This is the first one that I managed to screenshot, and it says, "Oh right, we can't forget Catnap, who is your favorite smiling critter," with a bunch of emojis that represent each one of them. And then it got deleted, and then the exact same one came out, but with glitched text, and the emojis were gone. And the only emoji they decided to keep was the crescent moon that Catnap has on his chest, which could mean that the only smiling critter still alive is Catnap and all the other ones are dead, which is why their emojis are gone. But yeah, Catnap's description says, "Catnap is a calming presence for the critter and ensures he and his friends always have the right amount of sleep to jumpstart the morning's play. End of the day, there's nothing Catnap enjoys more than watching his friends sleep soundly. His friends could represent the orphan kids in the playcare, and it's saying that he puts them to sleep with the red gas, and then they do tests on them to make them into mascots." By the way, his scent is lavender, which puts people to sleep, so. But like I said earlier in this video, the most interesting part about what happened today is not this image, but the actual ARG leaks. If you didn't know, Mob Entertainment is doing an ARG for Chapter 3, and I think when the fans finish the ARG, we'll get the trailer or the full game, who knows. But basically, the entire ARG has been revolving around this one character named Theodore. He's 7 years old, and we know he has an imaginary friend. And we think that his imaginary friend is the Prototype. If you don't know who the Prototype is, he's the one who dragged away Mommy Longleg's body in the last chapter, and we saw him in the Chapter 3 teaser trailer too. In the teaser, they really block out his hands because maybe that will reveal that he's the one that pulled away Mommy Longlegs. But in the teaser, we see him and he's really giant, and in the photo, we see him under a bed. So maybe he can shrink his size. And I think I know what bed that they're referencing in this photo. These beds in this Playcare leak. On the Poppy Playtime 3 Steam page, we see these photos, and this is one of them. There's a bunch of bunk beds, and this is supposed to be the Playcare, and where the children sleep. And maybe it's not an imaginary friend, it's an actual being. And people are saying that Theodore is Catnap. And it will make sense because in the photo, he's purple, and so is Catnap. So maybe the Prototype grabbed him and turned him into Catnap. He got his trust, grabbed him while he was on the bed, and then turned him into the monster to make all the orphans go to sleep. The next thing in the ARG I want to talk about that was revealed today is this new CCTV camera footage. And this right here is supposed to be the Playcare. It looks like a prison cell. I think there might be some drawings on the wall. Maybe this is where they keep the children after they gas them and make them fall asleep. They lock them in these prisons and then turn them into mascots. The next camera footage is probably even more crazy because we see Catnap himself. We see him and I think he's like hanging from the ceiling or something, or maybe he just has a really long neck. But we see that crescent moon that he wears, we see it swinging. So maybe he's using his long tail to hang from the ceiling or something. We also see him twitch his head a little, and I think that this is the bunk bed room that we saw earlier in the Playcare. The same one where the Prototype was under the bed. And if we brighten up this VHS footage, we don't really see anything more. But we did get some pretty cool looking documents that explain a lot about Catnap and what's going to happen in the game. And before I look at those, I want to move over to Mob Games' Discord server because they've been saying a lot on there. So they confirmed a December 2023 release date for Poppy Playtime 3, which was pretty obvious because November is ending in like 2 weeks and we don't even have the full trailer yet. But it's nice to know that we finally have a release date for a game that we've been waiting over a year for. And out of nowhere, they said Kissy fans will enjoy Chapter 3. If you don't know what they mean by Kissy Missy fans. Kissy Missy is a character we only saw for a couple seconds in Chapter 2, but she's been in the game ever since the first game ever came out. So maybe this means that we're going to see her down in the Playcare. And if Kissy Missy's down there, then there's a good chance that Huggy Wuggy is also down in the Playcare with her. Maybe that's where he went when we dropped him all the way down and he fell. Anyways, moving on to the documents I was talking about earlier, this is the first one. To whom this may concern, rumor has it, whatever it was that influenced poor Theodore, be it human or beastly in nature, as witnesses described it, has been apprehended in the lower degrees of the facility. I'm sure this news is pleasing to you, should it be true. And I hope it is true. Regardless, I wish to add my 2 cents based on the details I've uncovered in my investigations, and hopefully together we can paint a clearer picture of the situation and why it happened. I've got my theory though. Blunt honesty, I've never encountered a case as strange as this, and yet it's oddly simple. So this was obviously written after they turned Theodore into Catnap, and they're talking about how it's strange. They're saying that someone is influencing him, maybe the prototype, his imaginary friend. We don't know a whole lot about what they're talking about here, but there's another document that was shown that reveals and talks about a lot more. It has been 3 months since 118's procedure, which is Catnap, and 1 month since his introduction to the Playcare. I'm pleased to say that he has taken his tasks like a fish to water, meeting virtually every one of the objectives we set out for him. The initial procedure had its challenges, taking 4 hours longer than we hoped, followed by a rather tumultuous adjustment period. Still, his mental test metrics were virtually unchanged from the pre-op. Now that he's on the job, as it were, we can say for certain that the outcome has been a resounding success, rivaling that of even 1170. If you don't know who 1170 is, it's Huggy Wuggy, and he was meant to actually watch the children on the first floor, and apparently he did a really good job at that, and Catnap is doing an even better job at putting the kids to sleep. So this is the next part of the document. When the children first saw this bigger body's Catnap, half of them were terrified. More than one burst into tears. I can't say I didn't expect this. The other department heads will note I was never a fan of using 1188 in the Playcare for this exact reason. The good news is that in the time since, many of the children have warmed to him. Some of them even consider him a friend now. He's gentle, even a bit shy, and I think the kids find that endearing. The ones still weary of him at least now accept his presence without fuss. I still have reservations about how he is used, but I admit his overall impact on the Playcare operations has been a positive one. So they're talking about how Catnap was first introduced, and all the kids were scared, but only a couple of them liked him, and then over time they all started to like him, maybe after Playtime Co. showed them the cartoon. And we know that cartoon is showed to the orphans to make them believe that Catnap is a good guy, and then he gasses them and kills them. But for some reason, the way they're writing this paragraph, it feels like Catnap is not meant to kill the kids. In fact, it feels like he's not meant to harm them at all. They say he's a great addition to the Playcare. So Playcare wasn't made to gas kids and kill them. So then what was it made for? Was Playcare really just meant to be an orphanage in the first place? But there's one last part of the document, I'll read it right now. 118 has calmed down a lot in recent weeks. There were issues regarding erratic behavior after the experiment, but those seem to all have ironed out. And Catnap has been integrated to Playcare without much issue. That's not to say I still don't have concerns. The relationship between 1188 and 1006 could pose a problem, at least somewhere down the line. Anytime those two are in a room together, 118 follows 1006 around like a lost puppy. It's an odd sight, and what's more is 1006 doesn't seem to mind. If you guys don't know, 1188 is Catnap and 1006 is the prototype. And again, this supports my theory of Theodore being Catnap, and the prototype being his imaginary friend because he still follows him around even after he was experimented on. But yeah, I had a lot to talk about in this video, and I feel like something big is coming soon. I don't know if that's the trailer or maybe another teaser, but I have a feeling that there's going to be something on the way very soon, and I'll definitely be making a video talking about it, whatever it is. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed, and make sure to subscribe if you're excited for Poppy Playtime 3.